I, a fool, was personally decreed by the emperor to be his consort. On our wedding night, just as the emperor removed his dragon robe and sat upon the bed, I couldn't wait to pounce and kiss him. His face was covered in my drool. "Is this how we kiss on our wedding night, brother?" The emperor smiled like a sly fox and pulled my hand. "Not exactly. Let me show you properly, alright?" I had been different from others since I was a child. To put it nicely, I'm not very bright. To be blunt, I'm a fool. But no one ever dared to say it aloud. Because my father is the powerful prime minister. Even when I was 4 and still couldn't speak clearly. Drooling and giggling while sucking on my fingers. If anyone so much as snickered at me, that person would promptly vanish from this world. My father doted on me so much. Only because I was the one who gave him his life. It happened before I was even born. The great general rebelled. He marched into the palace to kill the late emperor and seize power. Father took a poison needle for the late emperor. He fell into a deep coma. The late emperor issued notices everywhere for a cure, but found nothing. Finally, an immortal hermit visited our manor. He said he needed a wisp of a child's soul from the house to heal my father completely. At that time, besides my elder brother, who was just a child, there was only me, still in my mother's womb, full term but not yet born. As the elder brother carried the hopes of the entire clan. Only my wisp of soul could be taken. I was born 3 days after father regained consciousness. According to my brother's memories, when I was born, I didn't look any different from other children. Thanks to my mother's peerless beauty. I wasn't bad-looking either. If there was anything unusual about me, it was that I always loved to grin. My drool would get everywhere. Everyone who saw me said this child was always smiling. Fair-skinned and clearly a beautiful girl in the making. But at 2.5, I still couldn't talk. The people in the manor suspected I was a mute. But no one dared to say it. Only father would always stroke my head dotingly. He'd say his little Laning was just a noble person slow to speak. The day I finally spoke happened to be the late emperor's birthday banquet. Father took mother and brother along and carried me to the feast. The late emperor saw me in father's arms and noted I had grown into a little girl in the blink of an eye. Father brought me forward to pay respects. I let go of father's hand, stumbled forward a few steps, and uttered my first words, "Long live. Long live. Ha 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 ha. Reward. Reward." The emperor was overjoyed. With a wave of his hand, he bestowed 10,000 taels of gold. He even issued an imperial decree naming me a princess. When father saw me speak, tears of joy streamed down his face. From that day on, I slowly began to talk more. But I was still different from normal children. I spoke slowly and slurred my words. I often tripped while walking. This only confirmed the fact that I was a fool. Yet, I was born with good luck. I suppose fortune favors the simple-minded. I remember the year of the drought. The disaster was severe. It hadn't rained for a year. Crops failed completely. The late emperor fell gravely ill. Memorials were sent to the new emperor one after another. That day, for some reason, I insisted on following father. If I couldn't, I would wail and cry. Father had no choice. He had to take me with him to pay respects to the emperor. In my silly way, I approached the emperor's sickbed. I touched the emperor's forehead. "So hot. Rain, please rain." I remembered mother saying getting caught in the rain causes a cold. If it rains on Uncle Emperor, his forehead won't be hot anymore. As soon as I said that, the wind began to blow outside. I laughed happily, pointing out the window. Look, look. A week of heavy rain followed, ending the drought. The late emperor's illness also recovered, and I received another title, Princess of Blessed Grace. It meant I was blessed with both fortune and merit. I didn't understand what it meant. I only knew my name was Fu Lining. Because I solved the drought. The late emperor viewed me as a lucky star. He granted father permission to bring me into the palace anytime. So, I attended all the palace banquets, large and small. The first time I saw Si Jingqing was in the imperial garden. I had wandered aimlessly into the garden. I saw someone standing in a corner. I thought it was my brother. So I stumbled and ran over to him. I fell right in front of Si Jingqing. Si Jingqing helped me up. I looked at the youth before me, who was much older than me. Si Jingqing had sharp eyes and deep brows. Looking at my foolish self, he suddenly smiled. I don't remember what happened after that. I only remember that on that day, in the imperial garden, I saw someone more beautiful than an immortal. The next time I saw Si Jingqing was 2 years later at the late emperor's birthday banquet. "Luning, come here. Help me see who else here is meant for greatness." I didn't understand what that meant. I looked at the late emperor in confusion. My gaze was filled with a clear-eyed innocence, or stupidity. The emperor didn't see my confusion. He patted my hand gently and said, "Go down and have a look." Lost and dazed, I bit my lip and looked around the room. They were all strangers. Only Si Jingqing in the corner looked familiar from our one meeting. I happily ran toward Si Jingqing. I poked his face with my finger. Then I heard the emperor's hearty laughter. "Good, good. Luning knows my heart best." I didn't understand what was happening. But seeing them all so happy, I became happy too. I laughed so much that my drool started to leak. Afraid the immortal brother would see my unsightly state, I immediately sucked it back in as soon as it flowed. After this incident, Xi Jinping, who was previously ignored, began to stand out among the crowd. After the late emperor passed away, he successfully inherited the throne. Many noble ladies tried every means to get close to him, but he ignored them all. He spent half his time running to the prime minister's matter. In front of others, he was cold and ruthless. He never showed his emotions. Facing the flocks of beautiful women, he remained indifferent. His tenderness was reserved only for me, but I found him a bit annoying. Because he was always pestering me, forcing me to write his name. There were too many strokes, it was too hard to write. I dropped the brush and pouted in protest. All right. You don't have to write it then. Ninger, as long as you stay by my side forever, that's enough. I looked up into Xi Jinping's eyes. I giggled and nodded my head. I hurried to tell my father that in this life, besides staying with him, I also wanted to stay with brother Jinping. But father's face darkened the moment he heard it. He went to the imperial study that very night. Your Majesty, Luning is innocent of the world's ways. I beg your Majesty not to disturb her anymore. Since Xi Jinping ascended the throne, he had been asking father to let him make me his empress. The harem is a dangerous place. If I became empress, I would be devoured until nothing was left, under the strong resistance of father and brother. Yang Qingxue, the daughter of the Minister of Revenue, was made empress. Even the usually composed Xi Jinping showed a flicker of irritation upon hearing father's request. I truly love Luning. Old minister. I know your Majesty is sincere at this moment, but how long can this sincerity last? A month? A year? Or a lifetime? At this moment, for my happiness, father completely disregarded the protocol between monarch and subject. I know your Majesty is fond of Luning, so there is one thing I have not dared to hide from your Majesty. Your Majesty, Luning is not like ordinary people. What do you mean? The rumors outside are true. My daughter is actually a fool. Father had kept this secret for a lifetime. But he finally said it. Are you willing to take a fool into your harem? Hearing father say this, Xi Jinping was stunned and didn't answer. Father laughed self-mockingly. From ancient times to now, which emperor would marry a fool? Wouldn't it be the joke of the century? It seemed the emperor's feelings for Luning weren't that sincere after all. I am willing. Jinping knew father's concerns well. More than once, he had promised that he would never let me suffer even the slightest grievance. He was just short of issuing an imperial decree to prove his heart. Your Majesty's sincerity. I acknowledge it. But Luning is simple-minded. The harem is a complex place. It is no place for Luning to live in peace. Xi Jinping sighed helplessly. For the first time, he hated being the emperor. If he were just a leisurely prince, he could certainly protect his Ninger. But think about it, after you are gone 100 years from now, who will take care of Ninger? Xi Jinping's words hit father's heart. Brother spends his life on the battlefield. He truly cannot look after me every moment. Father also worried about getting old. After he leaves, no one will be able to take care of me. If you are willing, I am willing to take care of Ninger for you. I promise you that within this palace, Ninger will be safe and carefree. If you still have concerns, I will issue a decree immediately. If Ninger suffers even a bit of grievance, I will hand over this empire to you. Hearing Xi Jinping say this, father thought for a long time and finally nodded. Within an hour, Xi Jinping issued the decree naming me imperial noble consort, and it spread through the city. The whole capital was shocked, jaws dropped everywhere, according to the rules left by ancestors. The promotion of concubines has conditions. The most important is whether they have borne a prince. But I was made imperial noble consort as an exception before even entering. This was an enormous favor. Because time was so tight. I didn't know if a full set of gold jewelry could be made in time. My sister-in-law was both anxious and heartbroken for me. If there's really no time, take the set given by the Dowager Empress for our wedding. Why must little Aining enter the palace? The harem is not like our manor. Here, we protect her. In the harem, who can protect her? Sister-in-law finally stopped packing the luggage. Her held-back tears finally burst through. They say the eldest sister-in-law is like a mother. She had been extremely devoted to me since marrying into the family. I had a weak constitution. If I had even a slight headache, she would stay up all night watching over me. Many people with bad intentions eyed the prime minister's wealth and sent matchmakers to our door. Sister-in-law would curse them and kick them out without a word. She was worried that without the manor's protection, I would suffer. Little Aining, as long as your sister-in-law is alive, no one shall bully you. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, the day for me to enter the palace arrived. The wedding procession was miles long, the city was decorated in red, the atmosphere was festive. It was a spectacle usually reserved only for an empress's wedding. A group of maids and eunuchs led me into an exquisitely decorated room. I felt the phoenix crown on my head was too heavy. Just as I reached up to take it off, a wicked matron nearby slapped the back of my hand. Impudent. Have you no manners? Having never been hit in my life, I was stunned. My personal maid tried to speak up for me, but she also took a slap from the matron. In this palace, only Her Majesty the Empress is the master. If you want to climb high, you'd better see things clearly. I was terrified. Tears began to fall, pit-a-pat. Then I suddenly remembered what father said the night before. They said today is a joyous day and I mustn't cry. So I covered my mouth in distress. Just then, the joyful and hurried voice of my emperor brother came from outside. The staff didn't expect the emperor to arrive so early. They all stood frozen. The matron was the first to react. She glared at me fiercely. She lowered her voice threateningly and said, "Surely your ladyship doesn't want to worry the emperor? Think carefully about what to do." Unfortunately, the matron overestimated me. How could I possibly understand what she meant? I only remembered father telling me, if anything happens, I must tell Si Jingqing. I shouldn't suffer in silence, seeing Si Jingqing arrive. I threw the phoenix crown on the floor in frustration. I held up the red, swollen back of my hand and said, "I want to go home. No one hits me at home." Si Jingqing saw my reddened hand. He scanned the room with a cold gaze. A murderous intent flared in his eyes. Who did this? Then he looked at the two matrons at the front. He had seen these two in the Empress's palace before. No one spoke. But he already had his answer. The Empress has failed in her discipline. Confine her for 1 year. As for the rest of the staff, 50 strokes of the paddle each. Si Jingqing's voice was very calm. I didn't understand what he was saying. After being coaxed by Brother Jing's soft words for a while, my initial upset had vanished. Having been hungry all day, I couldn't help but start eating the fragrant pastries on the table. You must be starving. Quick, someone, have the imperial kitchen prepare some warm food for the imperial noble consort. The way Si Jingqing spoke to me was always so gentle. But this contrast made the kneeling servants tremble even more. While I began to eat lightheartedly, the emperor turned his gaze to the maid with a palm print on her face. "Cherry, tell me, what just happened?" Cherry tremblingly recounted everything. "The imperial noble consort has had a long day. Take her down to rest first." Si Jingqing didn't want me to hear the bloody words that would follow. But he never realized that I wouldn't have understood them anyway. After I left, the emperor's expression became strange and mocking. Matronly, was it? Matronly, curled on the floor, kept banging her head in apology, but it was useless. The other servants secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, they hadn't joined in earlier. For offending the imperial noble consort, Matronly is to be executed along with 9 generations of her clan. Cherry has shown merit in protecting her master. Reward her well. The rest shall receive 30 strokes each. With that, Si Jingqing entered the inner chamber without looking back. I had been waiting in the inner chamber for quite a while. Seeing Brother Jing come in, I hurried to ask if I could go back to the Prime Minister's manor. "Don't worry, little girl, no one here will ever bully you again." I shook my head. "It's dark, Brother Jing. I should go home. Mother said we can't play outside after dark." Si Jingqing was tickled pink by my words. "From now on, this is our home. It's a home that belongs only to you and me. Will you stay here and keep me company from now on?" Si Jingqing coaxed me like one would coax a child. "It's late. Shall brother take you to sleep?" "All right then." I obediently lay down on the bed alone. By the time Si Jingqing took off his robes and entered the room, I had already closed my eyes and was fast asleep. Seeing me so sound asleep, the emperor felt both annoyed and amused. Was his Lining really this heartless? Between dreams and wakefulness, I felt someone pulling me into their arms. It was uncomfortable. I subconsciously pushed the person away. "Don't move." It was Brother Jing's deep voice in my ear. Fine. Since it was Brother Jing, I would let him hold me, reluctantly. Early the next morning, because of the morning court, Si Jingqing got up very early. Awoken by the noise nearby, I dizzily tried to sit up as well. But I only got halfway up before the soreness in my body forced me back down. Seeing this, Si Jingqing quickly tucked me back in. Then he gently kissed my forehead. "Your brother is going to the morning court. It's still very early. It's fine for you to sleep a little longer," but I insisted on sitting up. I stretched my arms. I said matron, she told me I had to pay respects to the Empress. I had to go early. I clumsily picked up the court robes to help Si Jingqing change. "When you go to the Empress's palace later, if she makes things hard for you, come back and tell me." Si Jingqing watched me struggle with the complicated court robes. He said dotingly, "I'd better let the servants do it. Go and have your breakfast early. Don't let your stomach suffer on my account." After sending Si Jingqing off to court, Cherry helped me with my makeup and hair. We were about to go pay respects to the Empress. "Your ladyship has skin as white as snow. You look very beautiful in flowered fabrics." The little maid brought out a dress, a grand robe with gold-threaded peony patterns. She had me change into it. Peonies are noble. Only the Empress is supposed to use them. I didn't understand any of this. I only thought this bright red robe was exquisitely made. I would surely look good in it. As soon as I entered the Empress's palace, the other concubines saw that I was late and dressed so flamboyantly. They were all filled with resentment. But because of what happened last night, they didn't dare to make things difficult for me. They could only mock me with veiled words. But they gave me too much credit. I couldn't understand their hidden meanings at all. following the etiquette matron she taught me. After paying respects to the empress, I sat in the seat arranged for me. The emperor truly dotes on the imperial noble consort. The first to speak was Lady Yun, who sat across from me. Isn't that right? Look at how brightly the imperial noble consort is dressed. Such luxury, she must be the one closest to the emperor's heart. None of us can compare. Alright, that's enough. The emperor likes the imperial noble consort. So I like her as well. We all serve the emperor together. We are sisters. There is no need for such comparisons. The empress waited until the other concubines had said their piece before speaking up to smooth things over, but I didn't pay them any attention. I saw some freshly brewed tea nearby, so I took a sip. The tea wasn't sweet enough. It tasted bitter in my throat. It wasn't as good as the tea in the prime minister's manner. After the empress finished speaking, she expected some kind of reaction from me. She didn't expect me to be preoccupied with drinking tea. A flash of displeasure crossed her face. The imperial noble consort really has no manners. The empress was speaking to you. Seeing the empress was unhappy, Lady Yin immediately took the lead to attack me. Wasn't the empress scolding you for talking too much? When I heard Lady Yin say that, I was a little confused. Didn't the empress tell them to stop talking? How did it turn into speaking to me? As soon as I spoke, the entire room fell into a deathly silence. Alright, it's getting late. Everyone go back and rest. Finally, the empress spoke to break the deadlock. Seeing me leave, Lady Yun leaned in close to the empress. She whispered, Your Majesty, do you think this imperial noble consort is pretending to be a fool or truly is one? Whether she's pretending or not, she just entered the palace. It's normal for the emperor to favor her for a while. Thinking of the matron she had sent last night, and how she had been dealt with, it was no different from a direct slap to the empress's face. How could she possibly swallow this insult? But for now, the emperor was protecting me. She didn't dare move against me easily. The days ahead are long. She would just settle this debt later. Time passed quickly. I had already been in the palace for 3 months. Life in the palace was very boring. Every day was a cycle of paying respects to the empress, and Brother Jing returning from court. Recently, the war in the northwest had been intense. He was often deeply worried. I hadn't seen him for 3 days. Cherry. Where is Brother Jing now? I leaned by the window, watching the falling leaves. Autumn had arrived, and the weather was turning cold. Replying to your ladyship, the emperor finished court this morning, and went straight back to the imperial study to meet his ministers. I stood up, planning to find him at the imperial study. As I passed through the imperial garden, I saw Lady Yun. It was Lady Yun and another noble lady, whose name I couldn't recall. Lady Yun and Lady Zhen are over there, Cherry said, pointing at the 2 women ahead, as she led me toward them. Is your source reliable? The deputy general is in trouble. Of course it's reliable. He's severely wounded and has been missing for 7 days. The emperor knows too. That's why he's been avoiding the imperial noble consort lately. Something happened to my brother? Hearing this news, I anxiously tried to step forward to ask for details. Unexpectedly, my foot slipped, and I fell down from the stone steps. The back of my head slammed right into a flower pot by the path. Then, my vision went black, and I fainted. What happened? How could the imperial noble consort have fallen? In my days, I heard Si Jingqing's furious shouting. Cherry immediately knelt and kowtowed repeatedly. Reporting to your majesty, this servant deserves to die. I failed to protect her ladyship. Please forgive me, your majesty. Her ladyship felt stifled, and wanted to clear her head in the imperial garden. She happened to see a butterfly. While chasing it, she accidentally fell from the stone steps. Hearing Cherry say this, I felt something wasn't right, but I couldn't put my finger on it at the moment. The back of my head was throbbing with pain. I couldn't help but reach out to rub it. Seeing I was awake, Si Jingqing hurried over to help me up. Lining, how could you be so careless? Seeing Si Jingqing, I remembered the news about my brother before I fell. I burst into tears from the grief. Why are you crying? Are you hurt somewhere? Quickly, call the imperial physician. Si Jingqing thought I was seriously injured, which was why I kept crying and calling for my brother. Lining, are you homesick? I'll take you home to visit tomorrow. Si Jingqing coaxed me patiently as if I were a child. Physician, examine the imperial noble consort thoroughly. Check if she sustained a brain injury. Seeing me cry so bitterly, the physician was also quite frightened. He hurried to take my pulse. Congratulations, your majesty. Congratulations, your ladyship. Congratulations for what? Lining is so badly hurt, what is there to congratulate? Her ladyship is 2 months pregnant. I looked at the physician in disbelief. Si Jingqing was stunned for a moment. Then he laughed joyfully. Lining, did you hear that? We're going to have a child. Si Jingqing's smile was so wide it reached his ears. Before I could react, I caught a glimpse of Cherry out of the corner of my eye. Upon hearing the news, a strange expression flickered across her face. I looked at the other servants attending to me. Though not as ecstatic as Si Jingqing, they were all happy. Why was Cherry the only one who seemed different? For the first time, I felt frustrated by my own lack of intelligence. Your Majesty, good news. Your Majesty, good news. A eunuch rushed in, handing the battle report from the front line to the emperor. The deputy general has won the battle. The northwest has been pacified. Xi Jinping opened the report. He scanned it quickly. Good, good, good. Lu Ning. You really are my lucky star. Xi Jinping handed the report to me. Then suddenly remembered I didn't recognize many words. He told me the contents of the report. The northwest is settled. The deputy general is on his way back to the capital. I still remembered what I had heard in the imperial garden. Wasn't my brother's life supposed to be in danger? I picked up the report and suddenly realized I seemed to recognize some of the words. Back at the manor, my brother had tried to teach me to read and write, but I could never remember or learn anything. Now, looking at the words on the report, the handwriting was indeed my brother's. Brother is fine. Then why did I hear those things? Back in the imperial garden? The more I thought, the more my head hurt. I scratched my head haphazardly, accidentally touching the wound. The pain made me grimace. Could it be that I'm starting to grow a brain? Lu Ning, I truly love you. Ever since I became pregnant, Xi Jinping would come to accompany me whenever he was free, because Xi Jinping spent all his time with me. He neglected the other concubines. Every time I went to pay respects to the empress, I would hear snide remarks from the other ladies. Lu Ning, why haven't you been happy lately? Is your body feeling unwell? Seeing my bitter face, Xi Jinping asked me with concern. It wasn't my body that was uncomfortable, it was my heart. Ever since the injury to the back of my head, I felt like I was thinking more deeply. But thinking more only made me less happy. Before, whenever I paid respects to the empress, I could leave after drinking a cup of tea. Anyway, I couldn't understand what they were saying. Now that I understood some of it, it only added to my worries. Furthermore, I began to feel that Cherry was not quite right, though with my current intelligence, I couldn't figure out why. Your Majesty, peonies represent the empress, don't they? Rumors had been circulating in the palace that I disrespected the empress, accusing me of being arrogant because of the emperor's favor. I knew I wasn't good with words, so I rarely spoke to the empress. How did it turn into me being disrespectful? After thinking hard for 3 or 4 days, I finally realized that every time I went to pay respects, the other concubines, including the empress, dressed in elegant and quiet colors. Only I wore bright red grand robes, embroidered with gold thread, phoenixes, and peonies. My clothes and makeup were all prepared by Cherry. She had been in the palace for so long. There's no way she didn't know these rules. I saw Xi Jinping nod. Then I continued, then, should I not be wearing bright red grand robes? And they shouldn't have peonies embroidered on them? Xi Jinping was amused by my serious expression. He gently pinched my cheek. As long as you like it, he said dotingly. Why shouldn't you be able to? Hearing Xi Jinping's answer, I didn't think further on it. I assumed Xi Jinping must have told Cherry as well, that as long as I liked it, anything was fine. But I didn't expect the harem to be far more complex and terrifying than I imagined. During my pregnancy, Xi Jinping, worried about any accidents, spent all his spare time with me. But despite being so careful, I was still targeted twice. Once, poison was placed in my dishes during the Mid-Autumn Festival banquet. Fortunately, my appetite was poor due to the pregnancy, and since the dose of poison wasn't large, both my child's life and mine were saved. Another time, in my bedchamber, I suddenly fainted. The imperial physician diagnosed it as poisoning, but even after searching the entire palace, no poisonous items were found. After all that fear and suspense, my child was finally born safely. Hearing that loud cry, I finally relaxed. Nurse, let me see the child. My voice was weak, and it was difficult to speak, but the midwife seemed not to hear me at all. Instead, she held the baby up and let Cherry take a look first. It's a boy, the midwife whispered to Cherry. Cherry? I want to see the child. Having just given birth, I was already extremely weak. Before I could finish, I fainted again. When I woke up again, it was already the 3rd day. Where is the child? The first thing I said upon opening my eyes was to ask for the baby. Seeing I was awake, Xi Jinping immediately took the child from the wet nurse and placed her in my arms. This is our child. She's a lovely little princess. How can it be a princess? Hearing Xi Jinping say this, I immediately opened the swaddle to check. It indeed was a princess. Impossible. I clearly heard the midwife say it was a boy. How did it become a princess? I looked down at the baby in my arms, then looked up at Xi Jinping in front of me. I am certain that the child I gave birth to was a boy. So, who swapped the baby? Where is my child now? Who is trying to harm me? Is it the empress? Is it Lady Yun? Is it the midwife? Or someone else? For a moment, countless possibilities swirled in my mind. From childhood until now, I had never felt so exhausted. Your Majesty, I'm so tired. I want to rest a while longer. Xi Jinping's heartbroken look didn't seem fake. I closed my eyes, recalling everything since I entered the palace. I knew who that person was. Your ladyship, the little eunuch by the emperor's side just came to say. The emperor has too many affairs to attend to tonight. Cherry brought over a bowl of blood-tonifying and calming soup. I scooped up a spoonful of the soup, blew on it, and held it in front of Cherry, signaling for her to drink it. Your ladyship, you really are. Seeing my unusual behavior, Cherry lowered her head guiltily. Don't worry, this soup isn't poisoned. You people aren't that clumsy. I stared at her. Her reaction was exactly as I expected. This soup delivered daily is not poisonous. But when combined with the fragrance of the flowers on the table, the two together become a colorless, odorless poison. Legend has it that the previous dynasty's court had a secret bone poisoning technique. Am I right? Hearing me say this, Cherry knew she couldn't hide it, so she stopped panic acting. The immortal who came to the Prime Minister's manor to save my father was also an imposter sent by you, wasn't he? This whole thing was a conspiracy from start to finish. That so-called immortal actually placed a goo curse on me, because my birth chart is Een. I was suitable for the Yongu. It seems you know everything now. Cherry ruthlessly pulled out a dagger from her robe. The goo insect has already matured inside you. As soon as the king goo is summoned, this world will be ours. Only after finishing did Cherry realize something was wrong. The mind of someone under a goo curse should be sealed. They shouldn't be like this at all. You broke the curse? Cherry looked into my eyes. Right now, the look in my eyes was nothing like before. The Empress has confessed everything. Should I continue to call you Cherry? Or the eldest Princess Wenha of the previous dynasty? How did you break the curse? How could you possibly break it? Cherry couldn't and wouldn't believe it. Because the method to break this goo required the heart's blood of her own clansmen. It's exactly what you're thinking. The heart's blood of your 99 clansmen. You killed them? You killed them all? Hearing that I had killed her surviving clansmen, Cherry began to panic. We aren't even. I have your child to accompany me. My brother had been secretly investigating the swapping of my child. He found that after my child was swapped out of the palace, he was thrown directly into a mass grave. In the end, we were a step too late. When father and brother arrived, the child had already been dead for several days. Following the clues, they found the Empress's maternal family intended to rebel. How could a minister with no military power easily start a rebellion? The investigation revealed they were in league with remnants of the previous dynasty. I knew. She was trying to use my dead child to provoke me. So, I pulled out a handkerchief my father gave me. Inside was a finger. And a bloodstained jade pendant. How much your brother suffered before he died? Do you know? That bloodstained jade pendant and the finger made Cherry tremble uncontrollably. She knew in her heart that there were no survivors in her clan. Your brother actually thought he could be emperor. How laughable. Even after his hands and feet were cut off, he was still clutching this jade pendant. You, Cherry pointed at my eyes with a trembling hand, saying in disbelief. You've been playing the fool all along. I forced back the tears that were about to spill over. Word by word, I said, I want her entire clan to be buried with my child. After saying that, I threw the finger and the pendant at Cherry's face. The guards by Si Jingqing's side immediately stepped forward to subdue Cherry. As Cherry was dragged away by the guards, her vicious curses echoed in the air. I silently closed my eyes and prayed, hoping my poor child could be reincarnated soon. The crimes were severe. The punishment was served. It was another night of nightmares. I opened my eyes and exhaled deeply, forcing myself to calm down. After the Empress's clan and the remnants of the previous dynasty were cleared out, I began to have nightmares night after night. Luning, did you have another nightmare? Seeing my pale face, Si Jingqing held me with heartache. It's all over. Everything is over. Brother. I miss father. All right. We'll go back to the Prime Minister's manor right now. The manor was some distance from the palace. I fell asleep in a daze. Luning, Si Jingqing held me gently, patting me to sleep. In the next life, I don't want to be the emperor. We'll just be an ordinary couple. We'll be together for all eternity. I stuck out my pinky and wiggled it. Pinky swear? All right. Pinky swear.